Today on Community Cooking, we have guest chef Paolo Buffa here from 21 Square Bar and Kitchen in Torrance. And today, we're making crab cakes with apricot and charred corn relish and pan-seared scallops over risotto and zucchini and herb cheese. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community. So grab a seat, get comfortable. We've got another great menu for you. This is your Community Cooking. Hello and welcome to Community Cooking. I'm your host, Kirk Lyons. In our kitchen today is my friend and chef, Paolo Buffa. How are you, Paolo?
Good, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited about this show. First off, you are not just the executive chef at 21 Square, but you're the executive chef for the entire Torrance Marriott property.
That is correct. That is correct.
Let's get this straight. You're handling room service, you're handling all the banquets.
All the outlet, the restaurant, and the cafeteria for the employees. Every single outlet where the food is, I'm in charge of it. So.
My goodness.
Big
All
job.
right. So if you're having trouble getting dinner on the table, imagine that job.
Amen.
Anyway, but you are originally from Italy, correct? Milan?
Yes, I am.
All
From
right,
the city of Milano.
You have cooked all over the United States.
Yes, I have. Starting from Florida, Miami, for quite a bit of time, like around 10, 12 years. Then I moved to New York City, Washington, D.C., and now for my 5th years in a row in California.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's what we call street cred.
Yeah.
That is some serious street cred. Now, you've bought a menu that just sounds delicious. We're starting off with a crab cake.
Yes.
And it's going to get a relish with it.
Absolutely.
Why don't you start by telling us what goes into the crab cake?
Into the crab cake, of course, you got some nice pasteurized crab meat lump. And then we have mayo, a little bit of panko, to bond it together. Those are your two bonding agents. I have shredded mozzarella. I have stone mustard, some chopped red onion, molten salt, my favorite, and some fresh ground pepper.
Okay, great. We're going to talk about a few of these ingredients, but before we do that, tell us what goes into the actual relish.
The relish, I got some charred corn on the cob that we're going to shred it in a few seconds. I have some local apricot that I picked up this morning at the market.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and then some lemon, parsley, and green onion.
Simple, simple.
Very simple.
Nice, but clean, fresh.
Nice and clean, yes, sir.
And I got to tell you, I love a crab cake. And you're using, this is lump crab meat. Is this blue crab?
Yes.
Blue crab, okay. And panko is an Asian breadcrumb, if you're not familiar.
Yep.
A little bit nicer texture than just a regular breadcrumb.
Yes, it is,
And let's talk about Malden salt real quick.
Malden salt is a salt that comes from the coast of England. Malden is in England. And they produce one of the best crystals of salt, that's how I like to call it, in the world, This salt is not an initial component, it's a finishing component,
Correct.
So they can sprinkle in every single dish at the end. Charred vegetable, you sprinkle it. You do some steak, always at the end, This is a finishing salt because it doesn't totally melt on the food, but it gives it the crunch in it.
Oh, it's the best. And when I saw him break that out, I got very excited. Okay, I don't want to wait anymore. Let's start by making our crab cake.
Very well then.
Okay.
Excellent. So we need our mixing bowl.
Yes, sir. I'll get that for you. Here you are.
Excellent. And then you're gonna start obviously with the crab. Just about 6 ounces of crab.
And very important to use a good product here. I mean,
yes.
It's all the difference in the world, right?
Absolutely, it does.
Why bother if it's not going to be good crab meat?
No, because there's no feeling. Just the ingredient that you see over here is the one that I'm going to be on your plate at the end. So they better be good.
Absolutely.
They have to be good. Not too much mayo, just a little bit because the mayo is just a bonding component.
Okay.
Definitely a couple of scoops on the panko.
And once again, not a ton.
Not a ton.
A good crab cake shouldn't have too much breading.
No, not at all.
Right?
Not at all.
Yeah, very little actually.
A little bit of mozzarella.
That's interesting. I haven't seen that too often, but I get it. It binds.
It binds, and then when it cooks, it melts, and it gives you that intriguing, if I want to say, taste.
It's a great melting cheese, going to give it a little nuttiness, sure.
Yes, absolutely. This, of course, you got to have a little bit of stone mustard. It gives a lot of flavor. And then some red onion, just again, just a little bit, not too much, for the taste, We're going to drop some black pepper. A little hit more.
It's definitely a cleaner version than your traditional Maryland crab cake.
Yes, it is.
Maryland crab cake, lots of Old Bay or
The Old Bay, but the Old Bay, yeah, I wanted to do something more local, you know,
right.
more local driven, using
it definitely takes you out of LA when you taste that flavor.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
indeed.
then also too, a lot of egg in it usually,
yeah.
and sautéed vegetables.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you were saying that you don't add a lot of salt to this, correct?
No, I do not. I do not add a lot of salt, and the reason is because the mayo, it's already salty, and so is the mozzarella, and so is the granny masa, and the crab is pasteurized with salt. So you really don't need much. If there is a need of extra salt, that's where you molten salt.
All right.
You know, and then you're gonna start combining the ingredient. You know. You start with a very little. You don't want to put too much mayo in the beginning.
And we use a gentle hand here too,
very,
don't we?
Very. You don't want to.
Because we don't want to. The whole reason you have lump crab is to keep the lumps.
Keep the lumps.
If
you know,
you're,
it's a very delicate recipe, as you can see.
Right. It's just mixing to combine, and like you can see, there's not a lot of binder in there.
No.
Good crab cake should almost barely hold together.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is over here. See, nice. You see, you're like squeezing it down, not.
Beautiful.
Pushing it down, you know, and it's almost ready.
Great.
See that? Just like so. Yeah, it's binding together.
And we're
Very
good.
simple.
We're ready to.
Oh, they're like, 30 seconds, and that's it. Your crab is ready to go.
Okay. And now we're going to put together the relish.
Absolutely. The relish, we're going to set these aside.
I'll take that for you.
Absolutely. Sure. And the relish, again, the relish, it's very simple. We're going to mix it, in a small bowl, that I prep over here with my spoon. And we're going to start with the corn. All the corn, this is a pre-charred corn, as you can see, nice and yellow. And what you need to do with the knife is to cut a few of this guy down. Okay. Like that.
And you charred that on a grill?
On a grill or on a flat top.
Flat top too,
on a barbecue, anything, just a little bit, not too much, We can set this on the side. And then the ingredient that will go in this little bowl over here.
I love this combination of corn and apricot. I can't say that I've ever had that before or have thought of that, but it does make sense to me because you have sweetness and you have sort of a starchier version of sweetness.
Yeah, that's it.
I like that.
Very refreshing, though. Very
refreshing.
refreshing.
That makes a lot of sense. And then we're going to make it verdant here with parsley and
a little bit of
green
parsley.
Onion. Okay.
You want to create, instead of chopping it, you want to kind of like do like a chiffonade. That's what they call in French, which is thinly sliced of ribbons. Exactly, and then inside. Right
especially with the basilico, right?
Absolutely. Especially with the basilico. Very nice. Very nice. Your Italian is coming out. I
know a few words, but I can say them really well. But that sometimes gets me in trouble because I'll say it, and then people think, oh, you speak Italian. You're Italiano.
And then they start in a conversation.
No, that's all I know.
All right. Again, we're doing the same thing over here. As you can tell, the technique is the chiffonade.
And I love seeing that too. When you see the big fat chunks of
no.
They've got to be nice and thin like that.
See?
All
this
herbs.
Is just perfect.
All herbs.
Exactly what it is. And that's what it is. So the next ingredient, I would like to use some lemon. So here I like to first of all, squeeze my lemon like this. Kind of push it down, and then we're gonna cut it down. Nice and perfect.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's it,
Not even any seeds.
And Carl, just see, very easy.
And once again, I mean, simple and clean and bright and fresh, because crab. That's a very luscious protein. Very luscious, and you've got fat in there, and you've got the cheese in there. So the idea of just creating something that clean, I love it. I love where this is going.
Yeah, and then your apricot, like I say, you picked it up this morning early. What you need to do, split it open.
Great. Yeah, that's a nice looking thing.
Oh yes, it is actually. And then you're gonna go this way, clean the knife a little bit. Then this way, because you want to cut it very thin.
You're gonna cut it like an onion.
Like an onion, exactly. See, like that.
Yep.
And then you want to start by going down like these small pieces.
Then we're gonna get it the other way, and everything's gonna look exactly
this technique
the same.
Is kind of called like a French technique. It's called the brunoise.
And what's important one of the reasons why he's doing this, not only is it more efficient to cut anything this way, but what's important is that everything is a uniform size, because the goal here is to get a little bit of everything, and every bite should sort of taste the same.
Everybody should taste the same.
When things aren't cut uniformly, they don't cook uniformly,
No,
and they don't taste uniform.
Definitely they not.
Right.
All right. And after this, again, over here, a little bit of pepper. This time, it's time to use a little bit of this beautiful molten salt, you know. And then some good, I like to use beautiful from California. This is the famous California olive oil.
Yeah, we do a decent job here, right?
We do a decent job.
I mean, I'm not going to put us on the level of
in California.
Yet,
no, but I got to say that this olive oil is actually my favorite. You know, I use this more than the Italian olive oil.
Really?
Very fruity.
Okay.
Very fruity oil, you know. So I really like it very much, you know. So, and then, kind of like you can see the corn.
Beautiful.
You're breaking it down. And then, you just want to let it
sit. Let it
macerate.
You
know. Because you know, marinate. You marinate a piece of steak, you macerate the fruit and the vegetable.
And the difference being in maceration is that the solution is actually breaking it down a little bit.
Breaking it down a little bit, you know. And that's exactly what you have here. A little bit. You can do these even a few hours before, you know. But, you know, pretty much we are ready to go.
And all right, we're going to cook up a crab cake now, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, always remember, you're dealing with crab, you're dealing with seafood, you know. Either you clean your hands very well, you wash it, or in this case, I like to use a couple of gloves, you know.
Yeah, I keep them in my house.
Yeah, you know, you keep it in your house. You know. It's always nice to have one, you know.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, and then we're going to, first thing first, let me see.
Yeah, you got the heat on there. I can see it.
Oh yeah, we got a good thing going on. So, the only thing that I would like to point out, I like to cook my crab cake in the old-fashioned way with butter.
Okay.
You know, so we're gonna get some butter over here in a few seconds.
All right.
And then
we got some butter behind us here?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. All right.
Let me open that up for you.
Thank you very much. You know, and cut a little piece of the butter. Nice fresh butter.
Because butter tastes good?
Yeah, it's good butter. Always tastes good.
It'll probably brown nicely.
It will. Absolutely, it will. So in the meantime, we're going to do, let's say, a few crab cake.
Okay.
Maybe one or two. We're going to put them over here in the meantime, and then we're going to cook it. So in order to do this, we're going to sprinkle the plate with a little bit of panko, because the panko will be what goes on the outside of the crab cake before you fry them.
And so we're not going to stick to the plate, and we sort of are, we're going to just lightly bread it. Not a lot of panko.
Not a lot of panko, again, not too much, you know. And then you kind of like, as your desire form, I would say 3 ounces crab cake. You see how they binding together? Very simple. You didn't need a lot of ingredient, a lot of mayo. You see, just like so, you want to create
the perfect cake.
The perfect cake, exactly.
Yep. Always using that light hand.
Always, do not press too much.
Yeah, right?
Don't press too much. Gonna do 2. Actually, let's make 3. Why not?
Listen, you make them, I'll eat them.
So just like that.
I'm a fan.
You can see the technique, you know, with your finger. You kind of like make it round, and with the left hand,
flattening it out. So
exactly. So see, 1 and 2, 1 and 2.
And then same with these. They need to be uniform, so they cook uniformly.
Yeah, they need to.
And especially in the restaurant world, where you're like looking at portioning and sizes, and you know, nothing worse than sending out 2 plates of crab cakes, and someone's got big crab cakes, the other person's got.
The next person, you know, gonna be either mine is too small or yours too big.
Right.
So what's going on, you know? So you gotta be uniform all the time. Again, very light. Do not push too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now we have 3 nice crab. Then a little bit more of the panko just on top, just because you don't want to push it or really squeezing it down. You know?
Yeah, and it's gonna make it nice and brown.
Exactly. And then over here you kind of like roll it. Just like that.
The sides too.
Oh yes, the sides. You know.
You know, and I do the same sort of thing too when I season my meat. If I season a steak and I season on a plate up high, and you always get the salt and the pepper that sort of winds up on the plate. That's what I dab the edges with.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, I used to always and if you notice that I always started with the side and then I went in the middle.
Right.
You know? Yeah. All right. And then off we go. We're gonna start with the butter. You know, Save the temperature.
And you're just pulling that off the heat there because you don't want it to brown
Absolutely.
too much.
Yeah, because you want to control the heat, you know. You
Yeah.
don't want to have your pan too much. But definitely a good brown butter will make the difference on the crab, you know. And then you can start in the corner over here. See that?
Nice. Now, in your kitchen, in
21.
Square,
Yes.
do you have a flat top? Do you have a French flat top?
We have a French flat top, but we rather cook the crab on a saute pan.
Right, but my
know?
point is that what Chef's doing here with tilting that pan and kind of keeping it on the edge is something that's sort of indicative of someone who cooks a lot on a flat top, because
Oh, yes,
that flat
absolutely.
top is different temperatures all
It's
over.
different temperature. Yeah, you're
so
right.
You're constantly moving it, and as soon as you did that, I was like, I bet you he's cooking on a flat top.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna let you finish that up. We're gonna take a break. Then in the break, we'll get cleaned up. We'll come back and we'll make our risotto.
Very
How's
well.
that sound?
Thank you.
All right, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Whether you need a hand shopping for groceries, using up scraps, or finishing every bite, Meal Prep Mate can help you plan better and save more. Whether you're a newbie getting your first taste, a meal prepper honing your chops, or a meal prep pro hungry for a challenge, you can learn how to eat smarter, plan better, and save more at every step of meal prep. When you finish every bite, you save. Start prepping with Meal Prep Mate at SaveTheFood.com.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. I am in the kitchen with Chef Paolo Buffa. He is from 21 Square at the Torrance Marriott, Redondo Beach. And these crab cakes look delicious and they smell divine. But that's not our only dish we're making. We're moving on now to our seared scallops over a zucchini and
risotto,
right?
Yep,
Okay,
with the herb
great.
cheese. Absolutely.
So first off, I have to say these scallops are gorgeous. Tell me a little bit about these scallops.
They're called diver scallops, first of all, and they're dry, so they're not kept in water when they've been shipped. You know, they're called diver scallop because they're particularly hand-picked.
Right, they're actually procured
They're-
by divers.
Exactly,
correct? Yeah.
diver scallops. You know, they are amazing. They're very sweet in taste, so they don't need a lot of salt and pepper. A lot of salt, I would say, because you know when they're picked, they're very salty already. You know, in
Right.
nature, in the water, and just slightly sear them, and then we're gonna serve it with a beautiful risotto.
Beautiful.
You
And
know,
we've
nice.
got some pre-cooked risotto already.
Yes, I got some pre-cooked risotto arborio.
Par-cooked. Okay,
Part
arborio
cooked,
rice.
You know, arborio rice. I have some diced local zucchini.
Perfect.
You know, this morning I picked it up alongside with everything else from the farmer's market. Some diced onion, extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of fresh butter, our herb cheese,
And a little bit of white wine.
of course,
And of
white
course
wine,
our Malden salt.
our Malden salt,
All
and
right.
some vegetable broth that is obtaining by cooking. You know, the scrap of the vegetables. You know, then
Nothing
you boil
goes to
it.
waste in a pro
Nothing.
kitchen.
You shouldn't waste anything on the vegetables.
All right, let's get going on that
All right.
risotto.
Excellent.
We're gonna put
on the fire with some oil, and then we add the onions.
that's the sound you want to hear,
That's
right?
the sound you want to hear. It's a great sound. A few seconds, the onion just to sweat, not a
Now,
lot.
while we're making the risotto, let's talk about this process because I think it's important. Risotto making, it's interesting. I mean, it's a lot of work because it's typically something that you've got to stand there and stir, and you're looking at about 18 minutes minimum.
18 minutes minimum, that is correct, you know.
And up to maybe like 20, 21 minutes, just sort of depending.
Yes.
And the process, however, pretty much always starts off with what he's doing here, sweating some onions.
Always.
Now, zucchini's a little twist that you're adding. That's not something necessarily
Yes.
you find in every risotto.
Not at all.
But
no.
onions,
But
yes.
onion is the queen in the kitchen, you know. The onion, it goes
And
everywhere.
really not garlic. It's not a dish
No,
that you see.
not at all.
Right?
Because a very plain dish, you know, the garlic is you're forcing the taste, you know. Garlic, I would leave it more for like seafood, you know, quick saute, 1 minute or two.
Right.
You know, for something,
Right.
for a preparation that cooks more than 20 minutes or between 8 and 20 minutes, I would rather use only onions, you know.
And also, too, the beauty of risotto is about that starchiness and that buttery starchiness that it gives off.
Yeah.
And I just think that sort of it gets in the way. You want to taste that starchiness. You don't want to taste the sharpness.
The sharpener of the garlic, that is
Right.
correct. Now we add a little bit of the zucchini. Wait a minute, just a few. And then we're going to continuously sweating onion and zucchini together. At this point, you add a little bit of
Just
molten
gotta
salt,
season it with
just
a little
a
salt and pepper.
little bit, you know, and the pepper.
Got to season all those layers, right?
Always, all the time. So when you go to the end, you know the result is perfect.
Right. Now you used arborio rice here.
I use arborio rice.
It's not the only rice that Italians will use though for a risotto, correct? You also will use like carnaroli.
The carnaroli,
It's a nice
the
rice, too.
carnaroli is more like chewy than the arborio. Arborio is like more for the risotto and soup. Carnaroli is strictly for risotto.
Right.
But those risotto that I would say, if you wanna do like a risotto with champagne, with risotto with you put a lot of it like mushrooms, that in this case I would totally use the carnaroli.
Interesting.
The carnaroli is much more refined than the arborio.
And Italians in general are so particular over their risotto. I mean,
Yes,
right?
it is.
You overcook it by 30 seconds and they're going to tell you.
They're gonna tell you, send it back.
You serve it in a cold bowl, they're going to tell you.
They're gonna tell you.
Right?
Exactly. See, nice and sweat.
And then also the consistency of it, that finished consistency has to be just perfect.
It needs to be
can't be
perfect.
too wet, but it can't be too tight. It has to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, wave, that's what we call it. Alonda means a little bit of wave like the ocean, you know?
wave.
The wave.
There
Just
you
like
go.
that.
That's a
See?
nice visual. Okay.
That's a nice one.
Now,
Now
we're
you
gonna do
with,
any wine with that?
Yes, of course. We're going to add some wine. What I want to do, I want to toast the rice a little bit.
Right. So this is his next step. He's getting a
Always
little bit of
toasting the
toasty
rice.
flavor on that rice, and then the wine goes in.
Oh, the wine,
And
obviously.
that's another step that always has to be
Always.
in risotto making.
And when you hear the wine, you want to hear the noise.
Yeah.
This one.
There you go.
That's the noise you want to hear. And then you want to let all the alcohol or the wine evaporate.
Or else it tastes like your
You got
wine
some
that
bitterness,
Right.
The wine, if it's not evaporated, you get some bitter. But the wine also helps the risotto not to go overcooked that easily. It will maintain the starch of the rice in the middle and release a little by little. See?
And one thing that's so important is the continual stirring, the continual moving of the pot,
Absolutely.
because you're developing those starches and
Yeah,
you're
you are.
bringing them out and making it's going to make its own sauce. And that's
Yes,
the
it
beauty
is.
of this.
See? It's losing a little bit. And then we add the vegetable stock. If you were to start from scratch, it's double of the weight of the risotto. So if you have a pound of risotto, you have 2 pounds of liquid.
Okay.
That's one of the secrets.
Or in Italy, you'd be using grams, right?
Yeah, it's in grams. Yeah.
Or in
We're using-
restaurants, actually. All
Restaurant use grams.
It's
Yeah.
all metrics because it's a more exact system.
It's all exactly.
and it's all by weight.
all that way.
It's never by size. You don't no tablespoons.
No,
in
there's
a-
no tablespoon or scoops or nothing.
No,
there's only
it's,
by
it's
weight.
100 grams or 50 grams.
Yeah, you're right. You seem to know your business.
Well, because when you're creating a recipe, especially on an executive level, like you have to do, you got to make a recipe that everybody can recreate.
Yes,
So if I
that is
say a
correct.
tablespoon and that tablespoon's a little under or a little over, my recipe's off. But if I say 100 grams or however many grams, it's always got to be that.
Yeah, the grams are actually very precise
Perfect.
unit of measurement. You can go over, a quarter of an ounce, a little bit of an ounce, you don't know.
Right.
But a gram is always correct. All right, now we're going to go and sear off the scallops.
Excellent.
Height, all right? So your pot, that's one of the secret. Your skillet or your pan, whatever you're going to use, needs to be super hot.
And why don't you tell everybody why that is, Chef?
You want a nice sear on the scallops. Scallops that is not cooked at a high temperature will start release too much of its own water, and that's when everything goes away.
A scallop should have that nice caramelized
Nice
brown.
caramelized brown, golden brown on the top. That's when you, by searing, the process of searing will keep all the protein and the juices and the flavor inside the flesh.
As opposed to in the
As
pan.
opposed to on the pan that you're not going to eat it.
Yeah.
Right. Not even if you do a sauce, it's really not convenient. Besides, a scallop that is seared, it tastes a lot better. You want to caramelize the sweetness.
And there should be a good finished scallop. There should be sort of a gradation of the levels. The outside should have that nice hard, crusty sear. Then you have a level of it that is like cooked a little bit well. Then you have a cook that's a little bit medium. And then that very center should just be a little quivering.
Dexter's right.
Right? Just so you get all the different layers.
And then again, you see very little oil. Don't put too much. Yeah, you're going to get a little of that oil, but it's nice. And then you're going to add a little bit of salt. Again, not too much, just a little tiny one.
Great.
Pepper, I'm okay with pepper.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to go to break. I'm going to let you finish searing those up. We're going to come back, get cleaned up, and I'm eating some seafood. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I try to keep up with what these young people is doing and knowing.
I was at work and I just got a text from a number that I didn't know.
I sent him a text. He texts me back and say, "Who this?" And I just thought that was the funniest thing.
The next few weeks, you just made fun of me, like would answer the door and say, "Who dis?"
Who dis?
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. I am in the kitchen with Chef Paolo Buffa from 21 Square at the Torrance Marriott. And I got to tell you, these smells are intoxicating. Intoxicating. And I'm going to get right to eating because I can't wait any longer. These are the crab cakes we made with the apricot and corn relish. And I'm just going to get right in there. I love it. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
So fresh, so clean. I love the combination of the corn and the apricot. It's perfect. That is so good. And no filler. That is all crab.
All crab.
All crab. All right, on to these beautiful diver scallops. First, I do want to take a little bit of the risotto, and I'm going to take some that's been, with the diver scallops been sitting on top of. Oh my goodness. Perfecto. That
Grazie.
perfectly al dente. So good. I love that herb cheese at the end. Really nice. And now, what I've really been waiting for. That is a perfectly cooked scallop.
Thank you.
We've got our sear on top, slightly quivering in the center. If you could ever eat the sea, this would be it. Chef, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You promise we do this again?
Of course.
All right, I'm going to hold you to it.
Thank you.
This really goes to show you that we are cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community. On behalf of myself, Chef Paolo, everyone here at Community Cooking, thanks for watching. Have a great day.
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200, in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.